Zayden had always believed that honesty was the one thing no one could ever take away from him. Growing up in a small neighborhood where most people struggled to survive, he learned early that a good heart was more valuable than any wealth. So when he finally got hired by a well-known company in the city, he carried that belief with him like a shield. He arrived early every day, stayed late when needed, helped coworkers without expecting anything in return, and treated everyone with quiet respect. People liked him, some admired him because he worked with sincerity instead of ego, but not everyone was happy about it. Some people didn't like seeing someone else rise without playing dirty, and one of those people was Nasir. Had joined the company a year before Zayden. He was loud, funny, charming, at least on the surface, but behind closed doors, he was competitive, jealous, and quick to blame anyone when he made mistakes. Still, he pretended to be Zayden's friend. They ate lunch together, worked side by side, shared jokes. Zayden trusted him like a brother, until the day everything changed, that it was the end of the month. The time when everyone submitted financial reports and cleared daily payments. Their department handled transactions, and the rule was simple. The finance cabinet stayed locked at all times, and only 2 employees had the key: Nazor and the department supervisor. That morning, the office atmosphere felt normal. People typed loudly, printers buzzed, phones rang. Zayden was preparing files when the supervisor suddenly walked in with a frown. "Everyone, stop what you're doing," he said. His voice sounded tight, almost shaken. "There's a serious issue." The room fell silent. An envelope containing company cash is missing from the finance cabinet. It was placed there last night. Only 2 people had permission to open it. Everyone exchanged uneasy glances. Nasir stood frozen beside his desk. "And one more thing," the supervisor continued. "The cabinet key was returned to my drawer this morning, but someone tried to use a duplicate." A cold wave ran down Zayden's spine. He had no idea what was happening, but something felt wrong. The supervisor's eyes scanned the room before landing on him. "Zayden," he said firmly, "we need to check your bag." The entire department stared. Whispering started instantly. Zayden blinked in disbelief. "Sir, why my bag?" Before the supervisor could answer, Nasir stepped forward, voice trembling dramatically. "Because I saw him near the cabinet last night." He swallowed hard as if forcing courage. "I didn't want to believe it, but he was the last one there." Zayden felt the floor tilt beneath him. "That's a lie," he breathed. "Nasir, what are you saying?" Nasir didn't look at him. "I'm sorry, man. I didn't want to expose you, but the company needs honesty." HR arrived. They opened Zayden's bag slowly, carefully, and there it was. A white envelope. The missing envelope. The room gasped. People covered their mouths. Someone whispered, "I can't believe it." Zayden's soul felt like it left his body. His vision blurred. No, that's not mine. I didn't. Someone put it there. But no one believed him. Not after the envelope lay in front of them like proof carved in stone. Nasir stepped back, shaking his head in fake sadness. "Why would you do this, bro? You had a good job." Zayden stared at him, and in that moment he understood everything. The friendship, the jokes, the lunches, all of it had been a mask. HR suspended him immediately. His ID card was taken. His desk was locked. And as guards escorted him out, employees whispered harshly, their eyes filled with disgust. A thief? A liar? A disappointment. Zayden's world crumbled within minutes. His mother cried when he told her. His little brother looked at him as if his hero had fallen. Neighbors whispered outside their gate. The company released a statement publicly, making the humiliation worse. But late that night, lying awake with tears burning behind his eyes, Zayden made a silent promise. He would prove the truth. He would expose Nasir, and someday, Nasir would face a storm far worse than what he brought into Zayden's life. This wasn't the end. It was the beginning of a revenge that life itself would witness. The days after Zayden's suspension felt like walking through a nightmare he couldn't wake from. His phone stopped ringing. The coworkers who once smiled at him didn't even open his messages. The company's announcement spread like wildfire across social media, labeling him the employee caught stealing office cash. Strangers judged him. Friends distanced themselves. Even extended family avoided contact, afraid the scandal might stain their image. But the deepest wound came from inside. His own home. His mother tried to protect him, but Zayden could feel her quiet disappointment. She never said it out loud, but her eyes carried the question she didn't dare ask. "Did you really do it?" One evening, she sat beside him on the worn-out sofa, her fingers trembling as she held his hand. "Zayden, tell me the truth. If you are hiding something, I'm your mother. I'll still love you." Zayden felt his throat close. "Mom," he whispered, "I swear on my life, I am innocent. Nasir set me up." Her eyes softened, but the hurt remained. "Then find a way to prove it, my son." That single sentence ignited something inside him. A fire, a purpose, a strength he didn't know he still had. The next morning, he dressed up and went straight to the company. Security didn't allow him past the lobby, but the supervisor reluctantly agreed to meet him there. Sir Zayden began, trying to keep his voice steady. "Please check the CCTV footage. You'll see I never went near the cabinet." The supervisor sighed. "We tried. The cameras in that hallway were malfunctioning. The recordings are corrupted." Zayden's heart dropped. Convenient. he whispered bitterly. That's enough, the supervisor warned. We have evidence. Stop embarrassing yourself. Before leaving, Zayden saw Nasir walking through the lobby with 2 co-workers. He laughed loudly, behaving like nothing happened. When their eyes met, Nasir paused just for a second, then the faintest smirk appeared. Not a friendly smirk, a victorious one. Zayden clenched his fists. He wanted to shout, to accuse him in front of everyone, but he forced himself to turn away. Revenge wasn't taken by yelling. It required patience and truth. He left the building with shaking hands, but life wasn't done testing him. Over the next week, bills piled up. His mother stopped buying her medicines to save money. His younger brother considered quitting school to help. Every day felt more humiliating, more suffocating, and every night, Zayden lay awake replaying the same question. How did Nasir put the envelope in my bag? He retraced every moment of that morning, arriving early, leaving his bag at his desk for a few minutes to fetch water, greeting Nasir, who was already there. That was it. He remembered leaving his desk unlocked for just a minute. His stomach twisted. That's when he did it, he whispered, but remembering wasn't enough. He needed proof. And proof came from the last place he expected. One afternoon, as he waited outside school for his brother, a young man approached him shyly. Zayden recognized him instantly. Harun, the office intern. He was the quiet, unnoticed type the kind people forgot existed. The kind who saw everything. Sir, Harun said softly. Can I talk to you? But please, not here. They walked to a quiet bench, across the street. Harun looked around nervously before speaking. I saw something. The day the money went missing, Zayden felt his pulse race. What did you see? Harun swallowed hard. I saw Nasir checking your drawer before work. He looked around, then left quick. I didn't understand at the time. Zayden held his breath. Why didn't you tell anyone? Harun flinched. He threatened me once. If I ever spoke against him, he'd ruin my internship. Maybe worse. Zayden understood. Nasir had power, influence. Fear was his weapon. But why tell me now? Zayden asked. Harun hesitated. Because, he lowered his gaze. I'm scared you might get arrested, and I can't sleep knowing the truth. Zayden felt something heavy lift off his chest. Hope, real hope. Will you testify? He asked quietly. Harun looked terrified. Against Nasir? He'll destroy me. Zayden placed a hand on his shoulder gently. He already destroyed my life. Don't let him do it to anyone else. Harun took a long breath. His eyes hardened with a courage he didn't know he had. Okay, he said. I'll help you. And just like that, Zayden had his first ray of light in the darkness. But the journey wasn't going to be easy, because as they agreed to meet again later, none of them noticed a car parked across the street, engine running, windows tinted. Someone watching? Someone who had already guessed what Harun was about to do? And that person would make sure the truth never reached the company, not without a fight. Harun didn't show up the next morning. He was supposed to meet Zayden at the small cafe near the bus station, the one open early enough for quiet conversations. Zayden reached on time, ordered tea, and waited. 10 minutes turned to 30. The tea got cold. The crowd grew. The sun rose higher. But Harun didn't come. Zayden tried calling him. No answer. He tried messaging. Only one tick. A strange, heavy feeling settled in his chest. Not panic. Not yet, but something close. He walked outside the cafe, scanning the street. That was when he noticed the white car parked across the road, the same shape, same tinted windows he remembered seeing 2 days ago. During their first conversation, he felt someone watching. He stepped closer, trying to get a look inside, but the car quickly pulled away, disappearing into morning traffic. Something was wrong. Seriously wrong. Zayden rushed toward Harun's apartment, a small rented room near the old market. He climbed the stairs 2 at a time and knocked on the door. No response. He knocked again. Louder this time. A neighbor opened her door. She recognized him. Are you looking for Harun? Zayden's stomach tightened. Yes. Have you seen him? She shook her head slowly. He left early. Very early. Looked scared. He was almost running. Did he say anything? The woman frowned. He said someone was following him. He looked pale, like he hadn't slept. Zayden thanked her and stepped back. Mind-spinning.Nasir had found out. He didn't know how, but he knew why. If Harun talked, everything would crumble. The lies, the blame, the entire trap he created. Zayden pulled out his phone again, dialing Harun repeatedly, each attempt feeding more fear into his chest. He walked down the street with shaking hands. 5 calls, 6, 7. No answer. By noon, Zayden was pacing outside the company building. He didn't go inside. He wasn't allowed, but he watched. Employees walked in and out, carrying laptops, laughing, gossiping. Then he saw him. Nasir dressed sharply, smiling confidently, waving at colleagues like a hero returning from victory. He had no shame. No fear, only pride. Zayden stared at him, jaw clenched so hard it hurt. Nasir approached the entrance. That faint victorious smirk appeared again, but this time Zayden stepped forward. Where's Harun? Nasir paused mid-step. Who? You know exactly who, Zayden growled. The intern you threatened. The intern who saw you checking my drawer. A dangerous stillness fell between them. Nasir's smirk flattened into a cold, dead expression. I don't know what nonsense you're talking about. he said. But if you keep bothering me, I'll file a harassment complaint. Zayden stepped closer, lowering his voice but not his anger. You won't scare me anymore. I know what you did. Nasir leaned in, too close, his voice sharp as a blade. Then prove it. And with that, he walked away, leaving Zayden trembling not from fear, but from fury. But anger wasn't enough. He needed a plan. Late that night, Zayden finally received a message. Not from Harun, but from an unknown number. Meet me behind the old textile factory. 11 p.m. Come alone. For a moment, he wondered if it was a trap. Maybe Nasir wanted to shut him up too. Maybe it was stupid to go. But if it was Harun, he couldn't ignore it. He left home quietly, telling his family nothing. He walked through deserted streets, the city glowing in scattered neon lights. The old textile factory stood abandoned, its broken sign hanging loosely. The wind whistled through the cracked windows. At exactly 11 p.m. He stepped behind the building. Someone was there, a silhouette in the dark. Zayden whispered. The figure stepped forward, slowly, shaking. It was Harun, but he looked different. His shirt was torn, his cheek bruised, eyes swollen with fear and exhaustion. Zayden rushed to him. What happened to you? Harun looked around desperately. They took me, he whispered. 2 men grabbed me when I left home. They beat me. They warned me. They said if I talk, I won't survive. Zayden felt the world tilt with rage. Who sent them? Harun didn't speak. He didn't need to. Both knew the answer. But Harun reached into his pocket and pulled out something surprising, a small USB drive. I got this, he whispered. The security room, it has backup files. I found one camera angle that wasn't corrupted. It doesn't show the cabinet, but it shows Nasir going to your desk. At the exact time the money disappeared, Zayden's heart slammed in his chest. This is enough. This can no, Harun cut in sharply. There's more. I recorded their threats, their faces, their voices. Zayden's breath caught. You risked your life for this. Harun nodded weakly. I had to. I couldn't let an innocent man suffer. Zayden felt tears gather in his eyes, but he blinked them away. We'll go to the police tomorrow morning. Together? Harun nodded, but before either of them could move, headlights suddenly flashed across the alley. A car had turned the corner, the same white car with tinted windows. It came fast, too fast. Harun froze. Zayden grabbed his arm, but it was too late. The car accelerated toward them like a bullet. Zayden shoved Harun aside with all his strength, hearing the sickening sounds of metal tearing through empty air. As they both dove behind a dumpster, the car screeched to a halt. Doors opened. Footsteps. Multiple. Zayden's heart pounded as he whispered, run. But Harun shook his head. No, I'm not leaving you. More footsteps approached, and Zayden realized something terrifying. Nasir wasn't just trying to hide the truth. He was ready to destroy anyone standing in his way. Zayden grabbed Harun's wrist and pulled him deeper behind the dumpster as footsteps echoed through the narrow alley. The sound of boots crushing gravel grew closer. The scraping rhythm of men who weren't looking for conversation, they were looking to silence. A harsh voice called out, check behind the bins. Both of them are here. Harun trembled beside him. Zayden's own pulse hammered in his ears, but he stayed still, muscles coiled, mind racing for a way out. Running was impossible. Fighting was suicide. Screaming for help? No one came to abandoned industrial areas at midnight. But then he noticed something on the far side of the alley, half hidden behind a pile of discarded metal sheets. An old rusted emergency staircase. It led up to the roof of the factory. It wasn't protection, but it was elevation. A chance. He whispered. On my signal, we run to the left and climb the stairs. Harun nodded, breathing unevenly. A man rounded the dumpster. Zayden saw only his boots at first, heavy steel-toed, built for intimidation. Another pair followed behind. They were checking every shadow. Zayden didn't wait. He shoved the dumpster as hard as he could, sending it crashing into the men's legs. They shouted, stumbling back. He didn't wait to see if they fell. Now, Zayden shouted. He and Harun ran. Gravel splashed under their feet. A man yelled, stop them. Another voice, more familiar, shouted, if they escape, Nasir will kill you. Zayden forced himself faster. He reached the staircase, grabbed Harun's hand, and they climbed. Behind them, the men recovered and followed. The metal stairs groaned under their feet, threatening to break, but adrenaline drowned out the fear. Zayden reached the rooftop first. The wind hit him, cold and ruthless. Harun followed, panting. Below, the men were still climbing. Harun gasped. We're trapped. No, Zayden said, scanning the rooftop, and there it was, another staircase leading down the opposite side. A narrow fire escape ladder. But halfway down, one of the bolts was visibly snapped. If they both climbed, it wouldn't hold. Harun looked at him, realization dawning. Zayden, if someone has to go first, it should be you. Take the USB, take everything. Clear your name. Zayden shook his head violently. I'm not leaving you. We do this together. But the men reached the top of the first staircase. Their shadows stretched across the rooftop. No more running. The voice froze them. Nasser stepped out onto the rooftop. He wasn't wearing his usual confident smirk. Tonight, he looked unhinged. Eyes dark, face tense, hair messy. He wasn't hiding behind lies or charm anymore. He wanted control. He wanted silence. Give me the USB, he said. And maybe I'll let you both walk away. Maybe. Zayden stared at him. You ruined my life. You framed me. You destroyed my name. And now you want me to hand you proof of your crimes? Nasir took a slow step forward. You were too perfect, Zayden. Too liked. Too trusted. Everyone admired you. It made me sick. You think I'd let someone like you rise above me? Harun's voice shook. You didn't have to destroy him. Nasir laughed cold sharp. Of course I did. I'm the one who deserves everything, not him. Two of the men moved toward Zayden and Harun. Zayden clenched his jaw. If you want it, he said, lifting the USB. Come, take it. Nasir lunged. Zaydn dodged sideways, grabbing a loose metal pipe from the ground. Harun stepped back, terrified but refusing to run. One of Nasir's men rushed forward, but Zayden swung the pipe and struck his shoulder. The man screamed and fell. Nasir jumped again, tackling Zayden to the ground. The USB slid across the rooftop. Harun ran toward it. Get him, Nasir screamed. The second man chased Harun. Harun grabbed the USB just as the man reached him, pushing him down. Harun hit the ground hard, but held onto the USB with a death grip. Nasir slammed Zayden's head into the cement. You should have stayed quiet. You should have accepted your place. Zayden gritted his teeth and pushed back, using all the rage bottled inside him. Years of humiliation, months of pain, endless nights of being called a thief. All of it burned through him now. He flipped Nasir over and punched him across the face. Nasir's nose cracked. He screamed. Harun crawled toward the roof's edge, cornered, shaking. The man looming over him ripped the USB from his hand. No, Zayden yelled. He ran toward them, but Nasir grabbed his leg, pulling him down. Zayden kicked him off and sprinted to Harun. Too late. The man threw the USB off the roof with a mocking smile. It disappeared into darkness. Harun collapsed, devastated. Zayden the proof. Nasir stood, wiping blood from his face. It's over. There's no evidence. No backup. No witnesses. You lose? For a moment, Zayden felt the crushing weight of hopelessness. Everything he fought for, gone. Until Harun whispered, there's still the recording. On my phone. Nasir's eyes widened. He lunged for Harun, but this time, Zayden was faster. He grabbed Nasir by the shirt and shoved him backward with all his strength. Nasir stumbled, arms flailing, and tripped on the loose edge of the cracked rooftop. He fell. The men gasped. Rushing to the edge, Nasir was hanging off the roof, gripping a broken pipe with one hand, feet dangling in the air. He screamed, help, pull me up. Zayden stood over him. For the first time, Nasir's eyes weren't filled with arrogance. They were filled with fear. Please, he begged, don't let me fall. I'll confess. I'll do anything. Harun looked at Zayden, waiting. The wind howled around them. Zaydn reached down not to drop him, not to save him out of mercy, but because justice needed to be witnessed. With Harun's help, Zayden pulled Nasir back up and shoved him to his knees. He took Harun's cracked phone. Start recording, Zayden said. Nasir swallowed hard, chest heaving. What do you want? The truth, Zayden said calmly. All of it. Nasir trembled. Then he broke. He confessed everything, stealing the money, planting false evidence, threatening Harun, hiring men to attack him, attempting to silence them tonight. Every word recorded. Every lie exposed. By sunrise, the police arrived, called anonymously by Harun before meeting Zayden. Nasir and his men were arrested on the spot. Faces filled with shock and defeat, Zayden was cleared that same day, his name restored, his dignity returned. And when he walked out of the station, free and finally innocent, Harun stood beside him, smiling through bruises. You didn't give up, Harun said softly. Zayden looked at the rising sun. Truth never dies. It only waits. Harun nodded, wiping tears. And together, they walked toward a new beginning, one built on truth, justice, and a fire that no lie could ever extinguish. Zaydn had lost everything, but he won himself back, and that was the greatest victory of all.